Welcome back, Fantasy Endgame fam, fantasy baseball players. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. It's a midweek wrap-up. Pierre, you and I are playing each other for the second time this year in our league. You're doing pretty well. Your pitching is annihilating my pitching so far. Halfway through the matchup, how are you feeling right now?
Nervous because you caught me at a good time because my team has been struggling lately. The bats have dried up. It's no good when I'm counting, hoping for Roman Anthony or Nick Kircher, the rookies, to pull me through here. I don't know what's going on. It's not doing much better today. How does Luis Arias, a guy who used to have a batting title, go 0 for 7? That's what he's at today. So, anyways, I might not be winning my own league this year, but that's okay. There are plenty of other leagues I can also not win.
That is true, but you know what? We're here to help you win your leagues.
Exactly.
And we're also here to get you caught up on what's going on in the week so far. And let's start with a young, exciting pitcher that everybody could not wait to put out this year, put in their starting lineups. And if you hasn't been great so far. Talking about Chase Burns. Now, okay, in his debut, he wasn't bad. 3 earned runs in 5 innings, struck out 8 batters. You're like, okay, nothing wrong with that. Last outing. Let's see here. Am I reading this right? 1/3 of an inning, 5 earned runs, no strikeouts. Is this correct? Am I reading these stats right?
It's correct. Which leads to the question I seen that we already have. I figured we'd have some questions. Is he even worth picking up after he got dropped after last start? Look. So let me say a couple things here.
Okay.
I'm not. This is not an "I told you so" because I said to pick him up right off a waiver wire. I like, yeah, of course you can pick him up if he's available. And he was on the 2-start streamers, and he was not the top of the list, but he wasn't the bottom either. But what I said in both of those venues, and not only the waiver, the streamer, whatever, it's like, just be cautious and just know the risks. All right. Now I didn't see this coming, but I don't always read the comments. We get a lot of comments on the videos, and I honestly don't always go through all of them. I try to help, but then one stuck out. I was like, okay, let me see, answer some lineup questions, whatever. And then there was one, and it was like, how can you say, you should add Chase Burns if you have Space? Or how is this guy not like the best pitching prospect of the year? This guy's going to be an all-star, blah, blah, And so, look, this is not a victory lap. This is just me saying, look, this is reality, right? Everybody is amazing, after one start, and then you have to make another start, and you have to prove it again, right? You can't build a Hall of Fame bust after one start. So he's a rookie pitcher. Jacob Mizrowski, amazing. Guess what? At some point in his career, possibly even this year, he will have a start where he's not that good. It might actually happen. So, look, I think you can still pick him back up. Yes. And also, let's not do the opposite. Let's not say, oh, my God, look how he got lit up. Forget it. This guy's a bum. He's worthless. Somewhere in the middle, right? Happy medium.
Happy medium. Yes. Next pitcher we're going to talk about, not happy medium here because, yes, Spencer Schwellenbach Blues. Apparently, after striking out a career-high 12 batters over the weekend, he was placed on the 15-day IL today with what they found to be a fracture in his elbow. Never a good thing when a pitcher injures his elbow. So, Schwellenbach, is he going to even be a Brave after the trade deadline? What are the Braves doing here, and what are you doing with Schwellenbach?
Yeah, Braves fans are just not loving it this year. They feel like they're probably snake bitten because as soon as they get Acuna back, Chris Sale, their best pitcher, goes on the IL, and then now Schwellenbach, their probably next best pitcher, you could say. So yeah, this is a team that might not want to, but they might have to acknowledge that it's not happening, right? I'm not saying they have to be sellers. Just because you don't make the playoffs, or maybe you don't think you're going to make the playoffs, doesn't mean you have to have a fire sale, right? You could just keep the gang together and go for it again next year. And so I'm not going to say, well, that's it. This means that they're going to get rid of everybody who's a free agent, or they're going to make some big deal. No, they don't have to blow this team up. But on the other hand, man, I talked on today's video. I talked about Austin Riley, and I've been talking about the fact that this team, this core that they've had, hasn't done much the last couple of years. They're not going this way; they're going downhill, especially offensively. Maybe they should at least something to shake it up. So I mean, they, on the one hand, logically speaking, you think, well, they should at least entertain offers and be sellers if they could, but there's really not a lot of, I'd say, pieces that need to be moved. Marcelo Zuna is the one I would keep an eye on. If they're going to make some sort of a splash, in that direction, meaning subtracting instead of adding, it would be and should be Ozuna. But yeah, sorry, I don't think it's happening. Braves, Diamondbacks, these are teams that have a ton of talent, but injuries basically, especially just the last couple of weeks, just slap them in the face. It's not happening.
Feels like 2 years in a row the Braves have been snake bit by
Yeah.
injuries. And then before we get to the questions, we do just have to mention that in case you didn't see the news, a legend of the game, Dave Parker, did pass away recently. I think 1 month from his Hall of Fame induction.
Yep.
So our condolences to the Parker family.
Yeah, Dave Parker, without getting too nostalgic, I just want to mention, because it's unfortunate that happens. I think there's only 3 times it's happened where get inducted, but before the actual ceremony, right? This has happened. But when growing up, my favorite team with the Braves, my favorite player is Dale Murphy, all-time player. But my next favorite player was Dave Parker. And when anybody who played baseball, or like me, thought you could play baseball, pretended to play baseball, you go and when you're a kid, you emulate the swings, right? That's what I love about baseball, right? There's no receivers in football. You might have this receiver, that receiver, and well, I like the way he lines up. I like the way he catches the ball. They all look the same. But in baseball, exactly how a guy stands, how he holds the bat, how he swings, how he follows through. And Dave Parker, he was the guy whose swing I always tried to emulate. So I don't know. He was very underappreciated in his time. So I'm glad he's finally getting some acknowledgement.
Yes, it's unfortunate he will not be there to, get to enjoy the moment, but I'm sure his family will enjoy the moment for him. So, all right, with that out of the way, it is time for your questions. You know how we do it here. We're going to answer as many questions as we can for about the next hour here. If you're impatient, you don't want to wait in line, you can drop that super chat and we will answer your question right away. And of course, whether your fantasy baseball team is dominating, struggling, it doesn't matter, because you can go to Underdog Fantasy. You see it scrolling right down there, and get your fantasy baseball fix in a different way. Look, they have drafts all year long as well. If you just want to do like daily drafts, weekly drafts, they got pick'ems there, and you see it scrolling down below. Go to Underdog Fantasy, join using promo code ENDGAME, because not only is that going to get you up to $1,000 of bonus cash that you can use to do drafts and pick'ems, but you're also going to get a free pick. So right off the gate, easy way to get a win in and get another way to get your fantasy baseball fix in. All right. Now, we did bring up half of Neftali's question earlier. He was the first one here. Let's get to the first half of the question. So he's saying he's not going to be able to catch the stream live, but he wants to know. He's got Casey Mize, Jack Flaherty, and Clark Schmidt. Should he move on from any of them? What could he get for them? And then remember, he did mention Chase Burns is now available. Would you drop one of those guys for Chase Burns?
Well, okay. I said Chase Burns is worth adding, right? If he's out there, you can stash him. But I don't think I would add him over those pitchers. I still think Flaherty's got value, even though he's one of those players that's also very volatile and hard to predict overall. I still like him. I like Clark Schmidt, has been really sneaky good. And I mentioned Will Warren in today's video that came out. I kind of felt bad afterwards. I said about how after Rodon and Fried, Will Warren is the next best pitcher. And I was like, hey, Clark Schmidt's been pretty good too. Yeah, I don't think I would drop any of those pitchers. If you should move on from them. No, I'm not going to drop them for the sake of dropping them, I guess, if that's what you're asking. If you're asking about trading, what could I get for them? Oh, okay. Trade value? Well, not really, because I've seen these pitchers not universally owned, and they've been dropped in some leagues. I just don't know what their trade value is. So No, I think you're good, honestly, with what you got.
All right. Stick with what you got whenever you come back and watch this. Thank you for that. All right. Then we got Jeffrey. Are we still buying low on Bailey Ober? He's thinking about offering Michael Soroka for him in a 14-team dynasty category league. First of all, is Michael Soroka enough? Second of all, would you do this? Would you get Bailey Ober for Soroka?
Well, this is the worst possible time. In fact, I just saw this afternoon. You may not have known, and I'm not sure when you asked this question. Bailey Ober's on the injured list now. So, yeah, we can at least be glad you don't have to worry about whether to start him anymore because he's hurt. So don't buy Ober. I mean, I know you're saying buy low. I guess it would be insanely low since he's going to get dropped or stashed in some places. But no, this isn't worth it. I like the thinking here because I've said I don't trust Soroka, and I still don't. I would like to sell Soroka for somebody, but Ober's not the move here. And you're talking about Dynasty League? Nah, go for a younger pitcher, maybe somebody who has, to some extent underachieved. I can't think of for Soroka straight up right now. I can't think of a pitcher that you might get, but if it's Ober you're thinking about, then no. You know what? You might be able to buy like a Brandon Pfaadt who could bounce back. I know he's been pretty rough lately, but that might be a worthy offer.
All right, there you go. And then what about Gabe? Wants to know, in a 10-team points league, do you like Ernie Clement or Otto Lopez? I need somebody to replace Jacob Wilson.
Got to go Otto Lopez. He's been so hot. He was a strong pickup, over a week ago. The Marlins found something. They're actually hitting. They're actually winning some games. Let's keep it going. I guess Clement will probably hold his job, although the Blue Jays, it's possible that they try to add somebody maybe to patch up left field or third base. Clement becomes a utility guy. I don't know, but I still prefer Lopez anyways.
All right, and then speaking of Mizorowski, maybe tonight is the night because currently he's already out of the game. He only went 3 2/3 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, 5 hits, 3 walks with only 2 strikeouts. So happens to everybody. Not quite as bad as Burns, but still a bad start. But then Ryan does want to know he was offered a trade. I don't understand. Like, this seems like a no-brainer to me, but maybe I'm missing something. He gets Dylan Cease. He gives up Chase Burns. What should he do?
Straight up, you get Dylan Cease. Yeah. You get Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease, I think, is still a buy low. I feel like Dylan Cease has been a buy low since like the second week of the season, and he still is. I'm definitely taking Dylan Cease there. As far as Miz, I mean, well, here we go, right? I guess it's already official. It happened. He had a bad start.
Yes, he's out.
Does that
he's not even
mean
in the game anymore?
Does that mean after he had, was it 3 really good starts? I can say dominant, right? And he only went 5 innings, maybe 6 innings, but he didn't give up any runs and hits. And I think dominant starts, and then one bad start, we're like, okay, that's it. You're done. This is not the time to trade him because guess what? The sell high window is now a little bit lower. You can still sell on him, but if you're saying like, oh, is this it? I should just move on. No, wait it out.
All right, and then Paul, yeah, Will Warren did do his best impression of Chase Burns tonight, but the nice thing is they're keeping him in there at least, so at least he's got me like 3 strikeouts. Yeah, I just got rocked. By the way, are the Blue Jays actually are they regressing to the mean, I guess, and actually becoming a team that can hit the baseball?
They have their moments, they got their moments. They're competitive. Yeah, they've been better lately. George Springer has been great lately. I don't know, but they're a team that could be kind of a sneaky playoff team, right? If they do something at the deadline, they're competitive at least. But you know what? I guess this just reinforces that he's a buy low now because he just had a bad start. So buy lower.
Buy lower. All right. Chris, what's up? Wants to know how long are we hanging on to Ozzy Albies and Cags for?
All right. Well, I just talked about Albies also kind of when I mentioned Austin Riley. I don't know. Now I feel like with him, he's a player that I'm just kind of assuming or hoping he'll bounce back. And maybe I'm being blind like to the numbers because I had no problem saying with Harris, like it's just not happening. But maybe Albies is no better. I haven't dropped him yet, but I have benched him. So I think you probably can drop him if you need to or want to. I'm going to hang on to Cags a little bit longer, though. I'm going to hang on to him.
All right. Then we got Good Joe saying he lost Schwellenbach, already has Reagan's on IL. Possible replacement, Miguel Cabrera. I'm guessing is that Edward Cabrera? Unless Miguel Cabrera is coming out of retirement to pitch. That'd be cool. Comes out of retirement to pitch. Reese Olson or Emmett Shaheen. Is he still in the minors? Sheehan. Is he still in the minors?
Well, last I saw he was. I don't know if he's getting recalled. He could get called back up again, but the thing is with him is Glass now should be back soon-ish. And so, yeah, he's not guaranteed anything. Even if he gets called up, it could be a spot start. It could be relief. There's no guarantees. So, no right now to Sheehan. Miggy would be great, but he's retired. No. Edward Cabrera, and if that's who it is, he's been rolling. I think he's the move here.
Yeah, it's got to be Edward Cabrera, right? Got to be Edward. Yeah. All right, Anthony, what's up? Has Grant Holmes become a must start?
Yes. He has.
Wow.
How can he look? He did it again. The strikeouts. He had, was it 10 strikeouts or something his last start? I mean, you got to keep it going until things change, right? Sometimes the hand is that hot, you just don't even question it. I mean, you just got to do it. He's there. Is he going to be that way the entire rest of the season? Probably not. But for now, just got to keep it going.
All right. And then Alyssa Dolphin Cloud. What's up? Yes, Corey Seager finally starting to heat up. So who do you prefer rest of the season? Him or Jacob Wilson?
Ooh. Well, here's the thing. I know that batting average is very different, right? Jacob Wilson has the edge, but we know Corey Seager has much more power. I think it's got to be Seager still. We can't just look at the first half stats because Seager, as usual, on the IL a couple times. Rangers, stunk all year. The Rangers might still stink. I don't know. But Corey Seager, even is close to his best form. It's better than Jacob Wilson. It just is. So it's got to be Seager.
Got to be Seager. And then Chris wants to know, does Jurickson Profar help lift the Braves offense at all? When is he back, by the way?
I think his first day he's eligible to actually play. So I'm not sure. I haven't checked if he's in the lineup. But yeah, it should be today. Yeah, he is in the lineup. Now, he's going to be valuable in fantasy. How much we'll see. Is he going to help lift the offense? No. What they need is all the Albies to actually start hitting. They need Michael Harris to actually be hitting. They need everything to come together. They have the talent. It's just not happening for them. So I don't think Profar is like the answer here necessarily. But that said, I still think Profar is worth picking up because they even say he's going to hit in the heart of the order. I mean, he's RBIs definitely going to be there. The batting average, hopefully, too. So, but as far as the Braves, yeah, it just looks like it's one of those years.
One of those years, kind of like last year. Speaking of Profar, would you rather have Profar or Otto Lopez in your utility spot?
Well, that's a fair question because I think long-term rest of the season, I think Profar is the pick here. But like from now until the All-Star break, right? Maybe less than 2 weeks we got. Profar is probably going to take a little time to get into midseason form, and Otto Lopez is hot. So I want to say right now, like this week, I would still go Lopez, but rest of the season, it's Profar.
All right. And then speaking of Lopez, Keith wants to know, would you drop Otto Lopez if he has a bad week or two?
Absolutely. Because he's not Corey Seager. He's not, one of these players that has a super high ceiling, doesn't have this extended track record of success. He's a fine hitter at times, but there's limited power. Steals, okay, nothing you can't get somewhere else. So yeah, he's a streamer. He's the type of player that is, worth rolling out there while he's good, but it's not going to last. Sorry.
All right, you ready for more Corbin Burns questions? Carney Jack Ryan. Well, this is Corbin Burns, not Chase Burns. So I should clarify. Different Burns. Out for the season, of course. Would you drop him in a keeper league?
I don't think you have to hold him. No, I mean, I don't know who else you got and all that, but I think you can drop him because even if he comes back, he's not a must hold, I guess, because he was solid this year, but he's not a guy I don't think is going to go back to his prime years ever. So yeah, you can drop him and then just trade it.
He made a trade Taylor Ward and Chris Bubich for Duran Duran and Brandon Pfaadt. He thinks he overpaid a little. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I've been saying Taylor Ward, good time to sell him. Bubich, a lot of this kind of depends on if Pfaadt gives you anything. But I did just happen to say, I didn't know we would have a Brandon Pfaadt question that I think he might be worth buying low. To get Jaren Duran, I think this is worth it. So no, I don't think you overpaid really.
All right. And then Anthony dropping the super chat saying he hasn't been available lately, but he appreciates all the videos, doing homework for him. Thanks to both of us. Thank you, Anthony. Glad you could make it on here. We appreciate it. We appreciate you very much. Appreciate the super chat for no other reason than to say thanks. Very generous of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And then J-Pac, not to be confused with Tupac, wants to know, are we still holding Tyler Soderstrom and Xavier Edwards in a 12-team categories league on base percentage? Keeper league as well, by the way.
Well, Soderstrom has become tricky now, hasn't he? Because Colby Thomas is complicating things. Just because he sat yesterday doesn't mean this is it. This is going to be a thing going forward. It could be, though. He could start to lose at bats. I've been keeping the faith in Soderstrom, but now I'm getting nervous. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold out a little bit longer, at least the next week or two. Let's wait until the break to see how this plays out. If we see a clear drop in playing time, this is like a platoon situation. Yeah, if Soderstrom doesn't heat up big time, then he might be drop worthy. Xavier Edwards, you know what he is. Speed guy. That's it. So, I mean, I think this depends on your needs. If you're good otherwise in stolen bases, I don't think he's an absolute must hold in a 12-teamer. His OBP, again, isn't extremely high, right? That batting average from last year, not being sustained. So I think Soderstrom is on the verge of being a drop. And then Edwards really depends on your place in the standings. And if you don't need him, if he's not a guy who you depend on to start, if you can find somebody who's, equivalent somehow, I don't think you have to hold either.
All right. You ready for this trick question? Because Kyle wants to know, who do you have more faith in? But the answer might be, I don't have faith in any of these guys. All right, Let's start. Giancarlo Stanton versus Jurickson Profar. Who do you have more faith in?
Between those two, it's Profar. I made a point of adding Profar in a couple of my leagues, and I made a point of not adding Stanton in any of my leagues.
All right. What about Luis Gil versus Sean Manaea?
This might be neither, but I'm going to go Manaea. I was okay with Manaea, and then what happened? He had a setback. He's not going to pitch, so I just know you're probably not getting anything from either of these guys real soon anyway, so it kind of doesn't matter. So right now it's neither, but if I had to pick one, it's Manaea.
All right, Yuri Perez or Chase Burns?
Chase Burns. And yeah, I've talked about Yuri. We talked a lot about Yuri Perez last week, so give me Burns still.
All right, and then Gleyber Torres or Marcus Semien, who got hot for like 1 week, the week I played him.
Gleyber Torres might be an all-star, which is crazy to think about. You're looking at it like, what? And then you realize that the Tigers fans just came out in droves, and I don't know what they're doing. They're skewing the voting. But give me Torres of these guys, Bogarts, whatever. And almost have forgotten that Xander Bogaerts still exists. Marcus Semien, I only know because of how bad he was early in the season. Yeah, he's heating up a little bit, but how hot is he? Now he's got his batting average up to what, like 220 or something? Nah, I think just Torres still.
All right. Then Jeff, by the way, good Joe saying yes, he meant Edward Cabrera, but we figured that out. All right, guy in his league of stud pitchers in a garbage outfield. Would you trade Ronald Acuna, Robbie Ray, and Brandon Woodruff for Max Fried and Logan Webb?
Oh, okay. This is like a this is like a monster here. You're going to give up Acuna and Robbie Ray and Woodruff's like whatever for Fried and Webb. So statistically speaking, Ray and Fried pretty comparable. Fried a little bit better ratios, Ray more strikeouts. Okay, so Webb for Acuna. Man, and you're giving up Woodruff? I feel like you're giving up a little more than you need to here. He's getting Acuna. I mean, you're getting 2 stud pitchers, of course, but you're giving up a stud pitcher. That's almost a wash there, is what I'm saying. So you're giving up Acuna, and let me throw in another pitcher for another pitcher. I think you need to get something else back. It's not even Woodruff that tips the scales here for me, because I don't really care too much about Woodruff. But if he already has stud pitchers, why does he need Woodruff anyways? If you're gonna do this, I want to get something else back. Maybe another pitcher. I mean, you're giving him 2 pitchers. He is giving up 2 pitchers. Maybe you can get a 3rd pitcher back. I don't know if you need that many, but get something else.
All right, get a little bit more. And then how Fantasy Sports, what's up? Wants to know, how would you rank these outfielders? Jurickson Profar, Taylor Ward, Kyle Stowers in a head-to-head points league.
I'm going to put Ward last, especially in a points league. I'm still going to go Stowers over Profar. They could flip-flop, but even if Profar starts to look like last year's Profar, which is no certainty, he's not a power hitter. He never has been. I don't see him outpowering Stowers per se. So right now I'll go Stowers, Profar, Ward, but those first 2 guys will probably wind up being pretty close.
All right, and then Harry wants you to rank these starting pitchers: Nick Lodolo, Will Warren, who got rocked today, Chase Burns, and Yuri Perez. And would you drop any for Sheehan?
Ranking them. Well, I'm going to have to put... No, I'm not dropping for Sheehan any of those. I'm going to put Yuri last for the same reasons I've been down on him. I still like Warren best of all of them. I'll go Warren, Lodolo, Burns, Perez.
All right. And then Kyle wants to know, time to be concerned about Jordan Westburg and Wyatt Langford.
Yeah, Jordan Westburg, he better watch out, because pretty soon he's going to be like the new Royce Lewis. He's going to get slapped with the injury-prone tag. Nobody wants that. Yeah, I guess you should be somewhat concerned. I mean, I'm not super concerned with Westburg, because these are minor things. I mean, hopefully he's just good in the second half of the season. But yeah, keep an eye on him. Langford, same thing. This guy's always banged up, but let's hope that the second half is strong for them. So these are still the type of players with the upside that you just have to keep them and hope that they can keep it together.
All right. Thank you, Kyle. Good luck there. Skywalker in a head-to-head points league. I guess who's your top 3 out of this group? Spencer Steer, Jurickson Profar, a lot of Profar questions, Josh Lowe, Tyler Ward, and Kyle Stowers.
In points, top 3. Okay. Well, I'll kind of go with what I said before. I like Stowers and Profar. Who's number 3? I don't like Steer as much in a points league. He runs hot and cold. The plate discipline is a little sketchy at times. So it's between Lowe and Ward. I think in categories, well, actually, you know what? I'll put Lowe 3rd. I'm not like completely out on Ward, but he's He's also a guy. He's just more valuable in a roto league because he gives you those homers, numbers, RBIs. But other than that, you could have some negative games, negative moments in a points league. So I'll go Stowers Profar low.
All right, and then Gabe, are you ready for another Profar question?
Of course.
Steven Kwan or Drickson Profar rest of the season in a points league?
I look, points league, that's Profar's thing, right? The walks, the on base percentage, he can hit by pitch. He racks those up. I don't, in a points league, I think you give the edge to Profar, but this assumes that he's going to have the kind of season at least close to what he had last year, which he certainly can. So this is close. I'll be optimistic and go Profar here.
All right. Are you ready to say how much you are all back in on Joe Adell?
Oh, we're all the way in, right?
All right, Martin. Rest of the season, Andy Paz or Joe Adell. And before you pick her, I should let you know, Joe Adell, last month batting .300 with 11 home runs and 2 steals.
Wow,
I've been playing this guy like every day. I just keep him in my lineup every day, and I'm rarely disappointed. It's been awesome. Is it time? Is he here? Has he arrived? Anyways, Paz or Adell rest of the season?
Oh man, I mean he's here. It's happening, but am I going to put him over Paz? Didn't you have Paz this season, or was that last season?
I never had Paz. I don't even think I had him last season.
I could have sworn you did. I don't know. I want to be all the way 1,000% in on Adell. I still think I'm going to give the edge to Pajes here. He's in the Dodgers. Come on, Dodgers, Angels.
It's Angels breakout year. Angels bats have broken out. It's Adell's breakout year. It's happening. All right. Ryan Pepio, Will Warren, or Edward Cabrera rest of the season?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm not going to put Cabrera over those two. So solid, still a solid option, but he's third. Warren or Pepio? I'm going to give the edge to Pepio. He's just, I mean, the difference here is that Warren gets you more strikeouts. Pepio will give you lower ratios. I'm in on Warren, obviously, even after today. Okay, a bad start's a bad start, but I still like Pepio the best here. Worry with Austin Riley. Well, I talked all about Austin Riley in today's video, Martin. I'm not sure if you saw it. I called him a buy low. This is a good time to try to snatch him before he hopefully heats up in July. Let's see. Chapman over Riley. No, I prefer Riley still the rest of the season.
All right. And then Martin, another one from Martin wants to say Brandon Lowe's been killing the ball. He's on the waiver wire. He's got Yandy Diaz and Rooker. Brent Rooker is the DHs with Ketel Marte as the second baseman. So you like Brandon Lowe over Yandy or Rooker? Or just sit tight?
Well, Yandy's been killing it too. He's been great. He's a guy who doesn't show up as much in fantasy as real life, but I mean, you can't put him over Marte. I don't think I would put him over Rooker. No, I think you're good the way you are.
All right, stick with what you got. Then back to J-Pac. IL question. Okay, so I guess for these IL guys, Luke Keyshaw, Zach Geloff, or Christian Campbell, if he gets called up, who of these guys do you expect to have a more successful second half? Again, remember, it's a 12-team categories league, on-base percentage league.
Good question. Very good question. I'm going to go Keyshaw. I kind of was raving about him early this season. I've stashed him in a couple of leagues. One is a keeper league, sure. The other one isn't. It's deep, but I'm big on Keyshaw. He was looking great until unfortunate injury. Geloff, I don't know what's going on. This guy's just not coming back. I mean, injury has been lingering and setback. But Geloff already has the potential to be a batting average drain. As we saw last year, he was honestly probably one of the bigger fantasy busts of all last season. So sure, there's some hope and there's some upside, but now you look at the A's and like, maybe they don't even need him. Christian Campbell will get called up at some point. Christian Campbell still has a ton of talent, but I like Keyshaw the best out of this group. Campbell, of course, might overtake him, but that's more of a big if now.
All right, then back to Kyle. Says you guys are great. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Wants to go over to the Brewers. Is Quinn Priester a keeper? And then how are we feeling about Woodruff?
All right, so Quinn Priester finally going to make it onto the waiver wire video. I'll say, okay, let's go ahead and add him. I really needed to see it for an extended time. I was ready early in the season. You probably remember I was ready after a couple of solid starts. I was looking different, looking good, and then he lost it for a while. I guess he's figured it out. So I think you can keep Priester. Woodruff is a guy, sure, if you have space, you need help pitching, you can add him. But I honestly still am confused why people get so excited about him as if, this is like a former Cy Young winner coming back. Like he's fine, he's solid, but he's not going to be your savior.
All right, and then TM wants to know, are you dropping Yuri Perez or Chase Burns for Edward Cabrera?
Yeah, I can drop Yuri for Cabrera.
All right, and then back to J-Poc. Oh, well, that one too, but he had a question. Thank you, J-Poc. Why Langford or Lawrence Butler rest of the season? You
got to go Butler here. Langford I cannot avoid getting banged up. You're getting similar numbers in terms of counting stats. They'll both give you some homers, some steals, and Butler's just more consistent. And plus, Butler, believe it or not, he's in the better team, the better offense at least. He hits lead off. He's scoring more runs, just more consistent. So Butler here in Cat's OBP. Yeah, I'll go Butler.
All right, and say it ain't so. He did it. Giancarlo Stanton, first home run of the season. All right.
Is he in your lineup?
He's in my lineup. That's right.
Nice. Not in my lineup.
No, but he's in mine. All right, Uwe2K started Miz, Burns, and Warren this week, so it's already over. So now, look, when that happens, now I'm just chasing strikeouts. Now I don't even care. The nice thing about this is my week because I started Rasmussen, who randomly got demolished this week, and then Warren, who got demolished today. So now it's like, you know what? Now I'm just chasing strikeouts of quality starts. I don't care. I'll throw anybody out there. He's risky. I don't care anymore. Right? I don't care anymore.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, it's not ideal, but you're like, okay, you know what? Let's go for quantity. The quality, forget it. Let's just pile up. Maybe somebody will get me a win. Somebody give me some strikeouts. Just go all out. Stream everybody.
Stream everybody. Well, not everybody, but anybody stream everybody. They got a good matchup. Stream them, even if they're not, but you stream the guys with strikeout upside. Don't stream the guys that might only get you 2Ks. All right. Anyways, he said he's keeping the Miz, but what's your ad priority for? Again, I assume is that Edward Cabrera? Is that Eduardo Rodriguez?
It could be Rodriguez.
Ryan Nelson, who looked great this week. Dean Kramer. Remember, it is a shallower league, so it could be Eduardo Rodriguez. So what's your ad priority for these guys?
I'm going to say Ryan Nelson first. It's just the pitcher I like the best. Dean Kramer scares me at all times. So I would put him last.
All right. And then Fantasy Football Dude on the Fantasy Baseball channel. What's up? What's going on in Miami? Are they talking about is he talking about the Dolphins and the ridiculousness they're doing over there, or the Marlins? Oh, we're talking about the Marlins. Okay. Because you could ask this about the Dolphins too. What's going on in Miami? All right. Are the Marlins actually playoff bound? Edward Cabrera making him believe again. Pierre, do you believe again?
Feels like this is like a setup, right? It's like to see, it's like poking to see what happens, see what my reaction. No, come on. I'm not gonna call Marlins a playoff team. I did see this. I don't remember where I saw it. Someone last year at this stage, maybe the beginning of July, the Tigers were 35 and 49, and the Marlins this year are 35. So, come on, it happens. Sure, it happens where horrible teams climb out of the cellar and somehow have amazing second halves. And yeah, no, I'm not doing this. Not getting my hopes up. They have some good players, but no. I will say this though. Look, if the Braves are out of it, maybe they do sell. Maybe the schedule gets a little easier here. No, this is not happening.
All right, and then we did talk about Grant Holmes earlier. You said a must start. So is he in a similar tier as Ryan Pepiot, Will Warren, or is he a tier above, tier below?
I think it's fair to put him in that group for now. I don't feel like, okay, you want to talk about consistency, you want to talk about a floor, it's Pepiot, right? He's just solid. He doesn't get rocked hardly ever. Will Warren obviously proved that he still can, even though he had been amazing for a month straight. But Will Warren still has great stuff. Grant Holmes, of course, his strikeout numbers are really the best in baseball over the past month somehow. I think we have to put him at least close to that tier now. Yeah.
All right, and then fantasy sports, pick one. We're getting a lot of Edward Cabrera questions, but do you prefer him or Ryan Nelson?
So go Nelson. I've been pretty high on Nelson really all year because I think he got a bad break, not even being in the rotation to start the season. So it took some bad breaks injury wise for him to get back in it, and he's proved that he belongs. So I like Nelson. I think Cabrera is pretty close here, though. The thing is with Nelson, his strikeout numbers aren't always great, but I feel better about his command. Cabrera has been good, but he tends to have more bouts of wildness, right? The walks will creep up and appear sometimes. So I just feel a little bit better about Nelson.
All right, and then maybe Uwe didn't understand. So he said, yeah, Creamer scares me too. So how do you rank Eduardo Rodriguez, Ryan Nelson, and Edward Cabrera, I assume?
Nelson first, Rodriguez second, Cabrera third. No.
All right.
Oh, Edgar Cabrera? Wait a minute. Is this the same question? Because you said Kramer. Now is he switching? You switched it on me. You said Kramer, and now you're asking about Cabrera. That's not what you had before. Okay. Okay, so Nelson 1, Cabrera 2, Rodriguez 3, Kramer last.
There we go. And then Kyle wants to know, Willie Adames or Zach Neto?
Definitely Neto here. Definitely. I've been calling Adames a drop like basically all year. I called him a bust, and that's why I didn't draft him anywhere. What has he done to change your minds? Nothing really.
All right. And then bet on it, guy. Who's going to be better coming off the IL? Brandon Woodruff or is that Reese Olson?
Must be Reese Olson. If I had to bet on it, it would be Olson.
All right. And oh no, we got one more. I thought we were done here, but okay. J-Pock stashing Eldridge on his keeper team. So with his recent injury, hamstring, and the rival endeavors, wants to know, is there any chance he comes up this year? If not, would you replace him with, is that Joe Boyle again?
No, is it? I don't know. I can't think offhand if there's another Boyle that's like a prospect. It might be
Joe Boyle. Joe Boyle from it's got to be Joe Boyle, right?
I can't think of another Boyle that's fantasy relevant. All right.
All right. Well, remember, it's a keeper team. Are you replacing him with any of these guys?
So with Bryce Eldridge, no, I don't think he comes up. If he comes up, it's going to be late season cup of coffee type of thing. They actually were holding off on calling him up because of his defense already. If they really want to be aggressive and promote him, they couldn't. But what the Giants are obviously doing is going in and being buyers. So is he going to come up with the Giants in time to do anything for fantasy? No. His hope, if there's a chance, it might be that the Giants go all in and add somebody else and, add a pitcher or something like that. And they trade Bryce Eldridge and he goes to a team where he does get to actually play, like the Marlins, right? Sandy Alcantara goes to the Giants. Bryce Eldridge comes over, fills the hole at first. Is that good for Eldridge? No, not really. So, if you're looking for help this year, it's not going to be Spencer Jones because they've already said they're basically They were, it was really weird. Like before the season even started, they're like, yeah, he's not coming up this year. Like he's not. I'm like, oh, okay. Boyle is a no. I like Crawford, probably the best here. The thing is with Crawford, is he going to get a shot? I don't know if there's no opening for him. So I can't say I'm really optimistic about any of these guys contributing this year, but if I had to pick one, it would be Crawford.
All right. And then let's go to, is he doing it again? Is this just who he is? Is this just who Julio Rodriguez is? A guy who has like 1 or 2 great months out of the year, and the rest of the time is just kind of and then everybody's like, this guy's the stud. Or are we going to see him have a great second half?
Well, maybe what he is let me wait till the second half to break out kind of player. I mean, we're hoping so, right? I know. I wouldn't say never again. Is he like a never again guy for you, or is he just like, it'll take me some distance before I can draft Julio Rodriguez early?
Yeah, he's getting there because I mean, like, at what point do we say, like, okay, when are we gonna see? Like I'm looking at his splits here. Like let's look at, like, if you look at, I remember I talked about it in 2020, like last year after he struggled. I said, I was looking at it. He had like a red hot August and a red hot like September, but he's bad the rest of the year. You look at it last year, he had a red hot July and like a red hot September. And then the rest of the months he wasn't very good. So like, I just feel like he's probably one of those guys. I mean, he really wasn't. I guess he really only had a red hot September last year. I mean, he wasn't even really that good in the other months. He just had good batting averages.
Well, that's
So
true.
I just feel like he's one of those guys that like, he's almost like a
picks his spots,
like a better Brandon Lowe. And I know people are gonna be like, oh, come on. But like Brandon Lowe is one of those guys, like right now he's red hot. He can hit like 10 home runs in a month and just have like a monster month. And then he can disappear completely the next month.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
kind of like how Julio is.
He's a streaky player. Yeah. He doesn't get as cold as some other players, but yeah, look, that's the thing. It's like, okay, he had a better second half last year, but it's true. He wasn't amazing all second half. It really just was the last month of the season. And that sticks in your mind. That's the recency bias. Like, oh, but he ended on a tear. Okay. That's 1 month out of 6. Like we need more than 1 month, It's this kind of like in football or that player. Oh man, those 3 weeks, he was amazing.
Right in the fantasy playoff, but what did he do? Yeah.
What about the other 14? Yeah, he'll probably have a better half. Yeah, I mean, if the question is he going to do better? Probably. Is he going to be a superstar in one of the best players in fantasy? I wouldn't count on it necessarily.
Yeah. Yep. All right, bet on a guy wants to know, are you holding Duran or are you dropping for somebody like Austin Hayes?
Holding him, and I've seen people are getting nervous. I think I haven't come out and said he's a buy low recently. I feel like I might have said that a few weeks ago. I think he might be though. I would hold him. Yeah, I'm not going to drop him. I don't know how deep your league is, but no, he's not the type of player you want to drop.
All right, and then Harry asking rank Edison Barger, Kyle Stowers, and of course Jurickson Profar.
I'm gonna in the points league. I think you have to put Barger last. He's a power hitter. He's been good, but less certainty there. I think in points, you probably will eventually say Profar is the number 1 pick here, right now, this week. I'll prefer Stowers, but rest of the season, it's probably going to be Profar.
All right, and then back to Alyssa Dolphin Cloud, Arenado or Max Muncy, third base, rest of the season.
I'm going to go Muncy. I mean, now that he actually can see the ball, it's helping a lot. He's been good. He's been pretty good.
That's important.
Yeah, usually helps. Arenado might get traded. We'll see if that means anything. I don't even know who wants him. But Arenado, he's been fine this year, but he's not the same guy, right? He's just not. The power upside isn't there.
All right, then Martin wants to know, would you rank Pajas over Christian Yelich rest of the season?
I don't think we can do that. Yelich, look, to his credit, he's been hot this whole month, and he's managed to avoid the IL. So I think we got to still keep Yelich on top.
All right, and then bet on a guy if you're looking for cheap saves. You want a Ryan Kirkring, Ronnie Henriquez, who I think who got you a save. I think he's gotten you 2 saves against me this week so far,
right.
somehow. And Grant Taylor, who's your pick here?
I got Grant Taylor too. I got 2 of these guys going against you. My discount bargain basement closers. The problem is one is for the Marlins, the other is for the White Sox. So how many saves are we really getting here?
Apparently this week, plenty. You're getting plenty.
Only this week when it counts. I liked Kirkring for a while. I keep feeling like he should be the closer, and they just don't make him the closer. So I don't think I can put him at the top of the list here. You want actual saves. Let's go Enriquez because he seems to be getting the opportunities, and the Marlins are actually winning games. But if they go back to Fauché or something happens and Enriquez, blows up, Taylor's pretty close behind.
All right, and then he's got trade question. Who wins this? Bryce Harper, Chandler Simpson for Mackenzie Gore and Cam Smith.
Oh, I still think the best player in this deal is Harper. I think the Harper side. I get it if you need pitching, right? Getting Mackenzie Gore has been great, and Cam Smith is getting better. But it's Bryce Harper. I think we have to assume that the rest of the season he's still one of the better sluggers in the league. So it's close. So I don't think this is unfair.
All right, and then Ui2K wants to know what's the deal with Basallo. I assume Samuel Basallo of the Orioles?
Yeah. I don't know. The Orioles seem to really hate their prospects, don't they? Like, what? I don't know. You tell me. They've had like 4 catchers get injured, and they're like, man, what do we do? Do we help anywhere? Help anywhere? And Basallo's down in the minor. He's like, yeah, no. I don't know. The Adley Rutschman's going to come back some point after the break, and so what's the deal? Is he's just, I don't know, hoping he gets traded, maybe.
All right, and then Kyle wants to know rest of the season: Grant Holmes or Drew Rasmussen?
I mean, I still like Rasmussen, but the difference here is Holmes has more K upside, and Rasmussen is still solid. Holmes more volatile. Rasmussen typically more consistent. I give the edge to Holmes.
And then good segue to Uwe. Is you holding Rasmussen or is he dropped after his terrible start on Monday?
Well, he's still a hold. Again, he'll have a bad game once in a while because he's human. But look, in your league, I know it's a shallow league. You might have better options if you're asking like, hey, Grant Holmes is on the waiver wire. Okay, then you can pick up Holmes and drop Rasmussen in your league because I think it's like an 8-teamer, right? But in most your 12-team, even 10-teamers, you still hold.
All right, and then speaking of a guy who had a bad first outing this week, Jacob Lopez. Are we giving him another chance?
This is the way. He's one of those players. There's always every year. There's that one guy, right? You're like, oh, he's great. I got to pick him up. And as soon as you pick him up, right, he hurts you. He's terrible. You're like, okay, forget it. And then he's amazing. You're like, oh, okay, I shouldn't have dropped him. I got to pick him. And you pick him up again. And then what do you do? He's like, okay, I get it. You hate me. It's personal. Fine. I think you got to give him another chance, though. I mean, he had mostly good starts, and when he's good, he's really good. It just so happens that when he's bad, he's really, 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 really bad. But I think for now, we have to give him another chance.
I agree. All right, Martin, last one. He promises. What are your thoughts on Cedeno Rafaela rest of the season? Can he be an everyday option at shortstop, or would you rather have Geraldo Perdomo?
Well, it's tricky with Perdomo because he's been pretty good, but there is a chance. They're in denial right now, but a couple of weeks from now, we might see Suarez get traded. We might see Naylor get traded. We might see some moves, and this Diamondbacks team might be just kind of waiting out the end of the season. So that hurts his RBI opportunities. I guess I would prefer Rafaela. Could you start him every day at shortstop? I mean, it's not ideal. I mean, there's a lot of shortstops that might be better out there, but he's startable.
All right. And then speaking of Rasmussen, Uwe 2K. All right. You say he's a hold, but what if you could pick up Ryan Nelson, Eduardo Rodriguez, or Edward Cabrera? Would you drop him for one of these guys?
It's the same trio.
Yes.
I'll prefer Rasmussen over those guys for now.
All right. And then we do have to get going here, but we'll end with this. Bet on it, guy. Another question. We'll do one more for him. He's held Roman Anthony all season. Do you keep him or do you pick up Addison Barger or Jake Mangum, not Magnum?
Not Magnum. If you held him all season, why drop him now? He's just starting to get hot. He's figuring it out. Got a couple of hits the other day. You hold him, and I wouldn't drop him for those guys.
All right. And there we go, guys. We're all caught up on the questions. And we do have to get going because we have something important to attend to for the football channel.
That's right.
But that's for another day to let you know about. Big news coming down the road. But for now, we'll say thank you for being on here for the baseball channel and appreciate everybody on here watching the videos, all the questions, because without you guys, we couldn't do this. So greatly appreciate all of you. Don't forget, we will be back here Sunday for your 2-star streamers to wrap up the week and get you ready for the week ahead. Of course, on Friday, got waiver wire video coming out. You don't want to miss that. Good luck to everybody this week. Hopefully you all take home the W, except for you, Pierre, because I got to take home the W. All right, everybody. Have a great week. Well, I guess a great night, and we'll see you back here on Sunday.